That's the new thing they're pushing, that could be space aliens. Keep your eyes on the sky. Something bad may be happening. So the next question that comes to mind is, what are we being distracted from? Okay, because they're wagging the space aliens in front of us as hard as they can. There was another White House spokesman said, well, I don't think you have to worry about space aliens, which is a way of planting that idea in people's minds at the same time you're pretending to say, no, it's not really a big deal. But you're probably safe from the space alien. I mean, it's a circus. It really is. That's why China sent that balloon over here. It was the only thing missing from the circus called the United States government. We didn't have any balloons. Got plenty of clowns, and but didn't have enough balloons. So China said, "Here, we'll help them out. Here's a balloon to have some fun with here." So what are we being distracted from? Well, the biggest thing that we're being distracted from, because there's not a lot of media coverage on it, is this disaster in Ohio, this train derailment. And it's really bad. People who are on the ground near there are putting up videos on social media showing all the dead fish in the water, dead animals, pets, farm animals. Ohio is one of the most fertile regions of the United States. It is key to our food supply in this country, and it's basically been hit with a massive chemical weapons attack for all intents and purposes. And so the government is out there saying, well, we'll take care of it. And, there was that ugly story where a reporter was trying to report on the derailment and its aftermath and was actually beaten up by the National Guard, and that's caused a big fuss there. Anyway, so we're looking at a train with more than 100 cars that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, near the state's border with Pennsylvania. 5,000 local residents, and the problem is that in order to deal with these hazardous materials, they couldn't pick them up. They decided to carry out a controlled burn, which now appears to have gotten a little bit out of control. And this train was carrying a huge cargo of highly hazardous materials. And the 5 of the cars contain pressurized vinyl chloride. This is highly flammable. It is carcinogenic. It is a real mess. And the Ohio Emergency Management Agency carried out a plan of basically trying to vent the toxic gas with a controlled burn in order to prevent an uncontrolled explosion, which would result in catastrophic damage. And unfortunately, that's not going all that well because the ambient temperature changed. The fire burned a little more energetically, and now they're still concerned there could be explosions with shrapnel from this train traveling up to a mile. The big problem is, though, that burning those chemicals produces more toxic chemicals. And we are looking at this smoke is containing the vinyl chloride, phosgene, hydrogen chloride, and other gases into the air. Phosgene is so toxic, it was used as a chemical weapon during the First World War. That's how toxic it is. And just before we went to press, it's been revealed that 3 additional chemicals were being carried on that train that include ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, or are on fire. And let's see, the ethylene acrylate is especially concerning. It, too, is a carcinogen. Contact with it can cause burning and irritation of the skin and eyes. If you breathe it in, it's going to irritate the nose, throat, cause coughing and shortness of breath. In other words, lung damage. And things are really bad. People are looking at the wind patterns because there's this huge cloud of smoke over East Palestine, Ohio, and it is being blown on the prevailing winds, which are unfortunately blowing east. And down in West Virginia, their water utility is already taking precautionary steps to try and make sure that some of these highly toxic chemicals do not get into the water supply down there. This is a major environmental disaster on the same scale as the Deepwater Horizon. And they're trying to play it down and forget about the derailed train. Oh, look, there's UFOs up in the sky. The aliens are coming for you. That's what you should worry about here. And the company responsible for this train derailment has issued a list of some of the materials that were on that train. And let's see, again, it repeats the ethylene glycol monobutyl ether. And we already talked about the ethyl hexyl acrylate. And basically what happened is they dropped a chemical weapon on this entire town. And it's already affecting people. People are, and their animals. Pets are dying. Fish are dying. Again, there are videos showing the water, open water in the area, and the dead fish are just floating on the top there. And this is a disaster, again, on the scale of the Deepwater Horizon. If it were nuclear, you could compare it to Fukushima. And what really may explain their efforts to distract from this and, just say it's really no big deal is apparently shortly before the derailment, the rail companies blocked some of the safety rules. They lobbied to basically kill a federal safety rule aimed at upgrading the rail industry's Civil War era braking systems. Okay? And this train, which was carrying these 20 cars of these highly toxic, dangerous, deadly chemicals, were not being handled, not being regulated as a high-hazard flammable train. They were just handling it as regular cargo. And, if it had been designated high hazard, there would have been additional safety requirements. Those were not in place. So, yeah, that would be a good reason for the government to say, oh, look, alien spaceships over there. Pay no attention to that cloud of deadly smoke that's drifting over Ohio and Pennsylvania right now. If you're feeling sick, it's just your imagination. And you should get your COVID shot.